Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about tic triggers and some of the triggers that I have as a person with Tourette syndrome. Now, my triggers can be different on day to day. I can be my own trigger, other people can be my trigger without them knowing. Just all sorts of things can play into what can be a trigger for Tourette syndrome. Now, what's important to note, as I've mentioned before in some of my older videos, that every day is very different. So something that triggers me today could maybe not trigger me tomorrow. And also super important to remember that everybody with Tourette syndrome is different. So what triggers me might not trigger the next person, or we could have some of the same triggers. So now to get into it, I do want to also mention that talking about the triggers for my tics sometimes triggers them in itself, and I tick a little bit more, so please be aware of that. Sometimes it's an uncomfortable topic, but I do believe it's an important one to discuss so people can be aware. So here goes. For me, one of my triggers that some people don't always realize and some people are often thrown off by or surprised by is that people's facial expressions can be triggers for me. And what I mean by that is if somebody's very expressive with their face, they move their eyebrows a lot, or they're just very expressive. And see, once again, thinking about it makes it go off. That can cause my facial triggers to react to those. And so I either sometimes have to copy those same facial expressions, or my eyebrow and facial tics start to happen because that person's being expressive. My brain immediately thinks, oh, that looks like one of your tics. We should probably do that now. Kind of in that kind of realm. So that is a really big one for me. And that one is one that I often try to put a disclaimer out there if I'm starting to do it, if I'm talking to somebody face to face, because I'm always nervous that somebody's going to think that I am mocking or making fun of them, and that's never the case. It's just my body and my brain takes over. Another big trigger for me, honestly, is when I am making videos. Unfortunately, my own face and body triggers me as well, because I'm so used to seeing myself tick and so used to ticking. So when I'm also talking about Tourette syndrome, it triggers me. I know that I tick with my face and my shoulders a lot, so when I see those parts of my body tends to do it. I know that one may seem a little silly, and sometimes to some people maybe even a little far-fetched, but that's how it is for me. Other triggers, one of my biggest ones are my emotions. When my emotions are heightened in any way, shape, or form, mostly though number 1 and 2 is excitement and stress, but if my emotions are heightened, I will start to tick a lot more. This has been my biggest trigger ever since I was a child, especially excitement. Excitement is my number 1. If I'm really excited about something, and I am a person that gets excited very easily, that's something that I love about myself, but unfortunately the Tourette part of it puts a damper on it. But I'm excited about little things and big things, so I get very excited, and because of that, my tics take over. For example, a couple years ago, after COVID and everything, I was going on my first vacation since COVID happened, and my husband and I are people that like to travel a lot, so not traveling for a while really did put a damper on some things and was a big bummer, obviously, for everyone. Obviously, there was way more important things to worry about at that time, so we did what we had to do, but I was very excited about this vacation. It was as if I was never on a vacation before in my life. And because of this, I actually developed a new tic where I sniffed in and out really quickly, and I did it over and over again. And this caused not only like my sinuses to start getting blocked up, it caused an incredibly painful headache. It actually caused me to lose my breath and not be able to talk correctly on meetings at work, which is a new thing for me. I don't often have that. Sometimes they do interrupt my talking, but usually when I'm concentrated at work, they don't come out like that. But at that time, they were so bad. I definitely had tic attacks that day. I had a headache. I had a sinus headache. I called my mom crying. So that excitement from that really ramped up those tics. And then on the other side of that, also stress, the negative emotions do the same thing. And that is a very common trigger for a lot of people with Tourette syndrome, and that's why I try to encourage helping the person calm down, breathe, all of those types of things. Over the weekend, for example, I had a tic attack and my mom had to remind me to breathe. I know that sounds silly, but I was with my mom. When I'm in those moments of those tic attacks, being reminded to breathe is something that I need, because I do not breathe well when I tic, especially in a tic attack. Generally, my breathing tics get involved with my tic attacks. Another trigger is just more of a common one for me, like more of an everyday trigger that happens. It's generally just whatever body part I'm using, and that is an unfortunate one. But so if I'm using my hand and I'm writing, my wrist flicking tics get triggered, or if I am walking, my foot, my foot kicking tic gets triggered. So all of these daily body parts that I move, or that an average person moves and they don't think twice about it, that causes my body to work at 10 times the effort, because now I'm ticking on top of already utilizing that body part, walking, running, whatever it is that I might be doing. And so therefore it also causes that exhaustion factor, which leads me to another one. There's so many tic triggers. I could go on and on all day about it, but I'm just going to kind of sum up some of the bigger ones for me and what I've heard from other people as well that share the same ones. So I'll wrap it up with this one, but exhaustion and being sick. This one can be a 50-50 for me. Sometimes it makes me tick worse, sometimes it makes me tick less. But a lot of people think that being tired, oh, if your body is tired, you're exhausted, oh, you must not tick as much then at least, or oh, you're sick, so you must not tick as much. And that's not necessarily true. For me, when I am tired, it's when I want to tick even less. And the more I don't want to tick, the more my body will tick, because now I'm thinking about it, my brain's going, and it's thinking about all the ways that we can make my ticks worse because I'm trying so hard to not do it. And that can be the same with feeling tired and being sick. Like I said, I never know what's going to happen. Sometimes they can take a seat, and be on the back burner for a little bit while I'm being sick, but then whatever didn't come out always come out in full force after that time has passed. Kind of like suppression, the longer you don't tick, the more that it comes out. For suppression, that is always true for me in my case. For being sick and just tired, that's not necessarily always true, but they generally do come back with a vengeance if I've had a couple of good tick days, but being caused by being sick or exhausted. So hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully that helped some of the people that were asking for what kind of triggers there are for Tourette syndrome and tics. Like I said, that does not encompass every single trigger there is out there. I could come up with a new one. Something else could trigger me some other day. You just never know. Tourette syndrome is a roller coaster ride. I like to say it's a roller coaster ride that I never stood in line for. I never wanted to be on, but here it is, and I'm trying to make the best of it every day. So I hope you learned something today. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video, and share it with all of your family and friends so that we can continue the effort in Tourette syndrome awareness. And please leave any other comments or questions or topics you'd like me to discuss in the comments below. Thanks, guys.